Good morning. Today we're going to talk about our new type of writing, and it is a response to literature. And response to literature is not just a summary, because we worked on summaries, but it is actually thinking a little bit more deeply about what you have read and responding to a theme, okay? So responding to a prompt. Some of the themes for a response to literature that you can respond to are friendship. Maybe what you read about is about friendship or being honest, bravery, greed, helpfulness. The story that we're reading today is about greed. Okay, so our response is going to be based on that. And some of the lessons, but not all. I mean, you can come up with whatever lesson you can think of whatever you learned in the story. Some of them, though, could be to never give up, hard work pays off, slow and steady wins the race, the early bird gets the worm, two heads are better than one, friends are forever, or believe in yourself. I think that the lesson for this story is something that we're probably going to have to come up with ourselves. And then here's some different character traits that you might see in the story. Someone being selfish, or maybe selflessness. Okay, not selfish. Selflessness. Somebody being courageous or brave, responsible, hardworking, patient, kind, stubborn, or helpful. And then sometimes in your response to literature, you might add in how this book relates to something else you've read, or something that you've seen in the world, or something that's happened to yourself. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the planner. Today you guys are going to be filling out a planner on it. The theme and topic sentence is already filled out for you. I need to make sure you guys can see this. This is the introduction, thesis or topic sentence. In the folktale, Two Different Rewards, two men learn a valuable lesson. I believe the theme of this folktale is greed, and I will explain my reasons for this. And then here we're going to explain our reasons. When you read this story, there's two different men. I'm going to read the story with you, and we will talk a little bit about the first man, and then the second man, and then the lesson that was learned. And then your concluding thought is already here for you. As you have learned, two different rewards involve two men with two different lessons. I think the theme of this folktale is greed. I proved my belief with my three reasons. Okay, so if the theme is greed, our lesson though would have to be something like, if you're greedy, being greedy doesn't pay off. You don't get what you want when you're greedy, something like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and read the story together. And now that I know what I'm looking for, so I got to read all this other stuff first before I start reading the story. So I have an idea going into reading the story what it is that I want to find. So I'm going to focus on the greediness and, who's being greedy and who's not, and what do they learn. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. The story's called Two Different Rewards. Okay, so like two different men get two different things based on their actions. A folktale from Tibet retold by Lloyd Anderson. So on a high mountain lived two old men. The men were good friends, but they were very different. One man was kind and gentle. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that. So that describes one man. Kind and gentle, taking care of his garden, made him happy. The other man, here's the other man, was unhappy, and all he thought about was getting rich. One time, the kind old man was working in his garden when he found a small injured bird. Feeling sorry for it, he took it into his house. He did everything he could to make it well. Finally, the bird recovered. The old man held it in his hand wished it well, and released it. Okay, so I'm just going to make a note right here. Took care of the bird. Man 1 took care of bird. Okay. Before long, the man looked up in surprise, for the bird had returned, landed on the man's shoulder. The bird dropped a seed into his hand. Plant this seed, the bird said. It is a very special squash seed. Take good care of it, and you will be rewarded. Okay, so bird gave a seed. The old man did as he was told. He planted the seed in his best soil. Before long, a vine began to grow. Only one huge squash grew on the vine. It grew into the biggest squash the man had ever seen. It took 5 men just to carry it into the house. When the old man tried to peel the squash, he had a great surprise. It was solid gold. Now the old man was very rich, but he was still kind and good. I'm going to highlight that. He was still kind and good. He used his riches to help anyone in need. Okay. So the squash turned into gold. But the man was still kind and good, and he used his riches to help anyone in need. Okay, he was very helpful and kind. All right, so let me get a different color highlighter for the other man. Okay. Make sure this one works. Good enough. All right. So let me put a little green by this. This is man 2. Man 2. He was unhappy, and all he thought about was getting rich. Oh, okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay. All right, so the old neighbor, that's the other man, he was jealous of his friend's riches. Where did you get that seed? He demanded. The kind old man told him about the bird. It says he's greedy. The greedy old man went home. He got a bow and arrow, hid behind a tree until he saw a little bird. Then he shot the bird, breaking its leg. He pretended to be very sorry. He took care of the bird until its leg had mended. Then he let it fly away. So he was trying to trick the bird into thinking he was kind, but he truly wasn't. Just as before, the bird returned and gave the man a seed. Plant the seed, the bird said. It is a very special squash seed. Take good care of it, and you will be rewarded. The old man was excited. He planted, watered, and tended the seed. Sure enough, a gigantic squash grew. This time, it took 6 men to carry the squash into the house. Okay, so I'm going to make some notes here. Okay, so he was man 2, greedy and jealous. Okay, shot the bird, pretended to care for it. Okay. So sure enough, a gigantic squash grew. This time, it took 6 men to carry the squash into the house. The greedy old man waited until everyone left. So he waited until everyone left. He didn't even want to share with anybody. He's like, get out of here. I'm going to open my squash myself. He thought about the reward the bird had promised. I will be even richer than my old neighbor. So he's not even happy with what the neighbor, he wants to be richer and better and more. It's just only thinking about himself, he thought. Then he got a sharp knife and cut into the squash. He too had a great surprise. Instead of gold, a big monster jumped out of the squash. The creature lifted the old man right off the floor and shook him. You are a greedy old man. Shame on you, the monster growled. He took the man out and chased him into the forest. The man was never seen again. The magical bird had promised each man a reward, and each man got the reward he deserved. So, one was a good one and one was not so good. So let's take a look at this and see what kind of lessons or character traits we could put into our response to literature. So we know we're talking about greed. Like I said, we're probably going to have to come up with our own lesson because these ones aren't quite right, okay? So I think the lesson should have something to do with kindness and giving. Maybe not even giving, but let's see, what did I have here? Helpful and kind seem to be the character trait that the bird appreciated and rewarded. So maybe we could put something for like it is better to be helpful and kind, or helpfulness and kindness will be rewarded. Yeah. Helpfulness and kindness will be rewarded. I have to check my spelling on helpfulness and see if it has two L's or not. I don't know. Helpfulness. Nope, just one L. Okay. Okay, one L. So helpfulness and kindness will be rewarded. Okay. Now, character traits, we saw kindness and helpfulness for the good character traits. And then the other one was this guy was obviously, I see the word jealous in here, and greedy. Also, when it says pretended, I'm going to write dishonest. Okay, so that's kind of like lying and pretending. That's being dishonest. So we can add that on here. So this was man 1 with these two traits. And then man 2 was jealous, greedy, and dishonest. Jealous, greedy, dishonest. Okay, so since we're doing just one paragraph with response to literature, this is going to be a lot of information. I don't think we need to include in here how this relates to another book or story or yourself yet. Okay, maybe next time. So we're just going to focus on our lesson and our character traits today. So let's take a look over here at, I'm going to make sure you guys can see everything I was doing. Sorry, I've got my camera kind of zoomed in so you can see better. Maybe I'll zoom it out a little bit. Nope, yeah, okay. Okay, so I added on for our lesson, helpfulness and kindness will be rewarded. And that man 1 was kind and helpful, and man 2 was jealous, greedy, and dishonest. Okay, so let's take a look at our planner. So our theme we have is greed, and that's already written down for you. And here I'm going to give you an explanation for why the theme is about greed. Okay, so I'm going to talk about man 1 first, and I made a bunch of notes so I can just kind of, it should be pretty quick and easy for me to fill this in. So I look back here, I have man 1 was kind and helpful. Okay, so kind and helpful. Okay, I don't have to write complete sentences on this because when I turn it into a paragraph, I'll write, complete sentences with capitals and periods and correct sentence structure and all of that. Right now I'm just making little notes on my planner. Okay, so man 1 was kind and helpful. And how do I know this? Okay, I'm going to give, that's my yellow, and then my reds are going to be details explaining how he was kind and helpful. He took care of an injured bird. Okay, took care of the injured bird. And in return, the bird gave the man a seed. In return, okay, the bird gave man a special seed, and the seed turned into a huge gold squash. Huge gold squash. Okay, now then man 2, I'm going to say, was jealous, greedy, and dishonest. Jealous, greedy, and dishonest. And to prove that he was jealous, greedy, and dishonest, I am going to write down the things that he did. Okay, make sure you can still see here. Okay, let's see. He shot the bird and pretended to care for it. So shot the bird, pretended to care about the bird. Okay, the bird also gave him a seed. Bird gave him a seed, and it was a big monster that chased him away. Okay, so then now that I've described quickly the 2 men, all right, and you can see how their characters were different, then I'm going to look at what lesson I learned from that, which we already talked about, and I put down here, helpfulness and kindness will be rewarded. Okay, so down here, I'm going to say, like when I write my complete sentence, I'll say something like, the lesson that I learned from this was that if you're truly helpful and kind, that you will be rewarded. So helpful and kind will be rewarded. And if you are jealous, greedy, and dishonest, your reward will not be so nice. Jealous, greedy, dishonest, reward will not be nice. Okay, so when you rewrite it, it'll say something like, if you are truly helpful and kind, you will be rewarded. If you are jealous, greedy, and dishonest, the reward that you get will not be a nice one. The proof is the difference in the reward that was given to man 1 and man 2. So the difference in the rewards given to man 1 and man 2. man 1 and man 2. And then the ending sentence is, as you have learned, 2 different rewards involve 2 men with 2 different lessons. I think the theme of this folktale is greed. I proved my belief with my 3 reasons. Okay, so one man was greedy, one man was caring and helpful. He got a nice reward, and the greedy man did not. So when you, I feel like there was something else I was going to say. Got that. No, I think that's it. Okay, so now your planner doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine. If you learned a different lesson, you can change it. Okay, you could write something different. You could put in different examples, and then on your next lesson, oh, I remember what I forgot. On your next lesson, you'll be writing it in complete sentence as a whole paragraph. I forgot the transitions. Okay, so transition words are like first, next, last, or in the beginning, in the middle. Okay, so it kind of moves your story along. Okay, so for here, I'm just going to use the transition. I'm just going to say, first, I will tell you about a man who was kind and helpful. So first, comma, I will tell you about the man who was, and then I'll finish off this sentence. Okay, next, that's my next transition, going to man 2. Next, I will tell you, because I don't want to reuse the same words all the time, I have to think up some way other to say it. Next, let's see. Or next, you will hear about the man. Next, you will hear about the man who was, and we'll finish that, jealous, greedy, and dishonest. Okay, then the last transition leads me into my lesson that I learned. So I think I'll use the word first, next. I'm just trying to think what goes along well with first and next. So first, blah blah blah, next, blah blah blah. How about finally? Finally, let's look at the lesson that was learned. So finally, I will, or finally, let's, yeah, finally, comma, let's look at the lesson I learned, because it's you learning a lesson here. And then you could say, like, I learned that if you are helpful, truly helpful and kind, you will be rewarded. Okay, and if you are jealous, greedy, and dishonest, your reward will not be nice. You can see that by the difference in the rewards given to man 1 and man 2. And then your conclusion. So here's your transitions. First, next, finally. Okay, so that is your planner, and you will then be taking that and writing it in, writing it in a paragraph. I believe you're going to be doing that tomorrow. Let me just check here on the schedule. Yikes. Going. Checking on the schedule. Yeah. So tomorrow you will be writing it in a paragraph. And I'm not going to make a video for the paragraph because we've taken our planner on our summary or informative writing and have turned it into a paragraph many times. So I am going to let you do that on your own tomorrow. Take your introduction and your proof and examples and your conclusion, and just write them in complete sentences and turn it into a paragraph tomorrow. And I just want to check one more thing here on the schedule before I end the video. Make sure I've got everything. Yes. Okay. So that's that, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.